Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our BTE Youth Leadership Council's 2021 Wellness Webinar. My name is Tiffany Nesby, and on behalf of my colleague Shireen Smith and myself, we are thrilled to have our Youth Leadership Council presenting today for their wellness webinar. And I'm going to pass it over to our BTE YLC President, Trisha Prajapati.
Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar, and I'm very excited that you're here today. The YLC and I have worked extremely hard for an insane amount of months, every Sunday waking up so early in the morning, or being here in the middle of your day or even in the evening to have this for you guys, and we really hope that it'll be insightful and very beneficial to you. So this is our council. We have Jamila from Limerick, Ireland, Ali from Athens, Georgia, Melanie from Puebla, Mexico, who is our vice president and one of the translators, Noor Khan from High Wycombe, UK, and she's our secretary, me from Franklin, New Jersey, and I am the president, as Tiffany said, Marilyn from New Brunswick, New Jersey, and she is an alumni of the BTE program, and she's also one of the translators, and Fatolo from Swellapele, South Africa. I just want to say that we are not professionals, and these are simply just lessons that we've learned along the way and wanted to help share and spread the word. So this is me. Hi, and I just like to say again, thank you for joining our webinar, and I hope that you find it insightful. I am Trisha, and some things that I enjoy doing are dancing, spending time with friends and family, and cooking. And I'm hoping to have a career in the medical field, specifically cardiothoracic surgery, and I just want to thank you guys again for being here.
Hola, mi nombre es Melanie González, espero que estén muy bien y bueno, yo como ya lo dijeron soy vicepresidente de YLC y estoy tan feliz de que ustedes se puedan reunir con nosotros en este día y creo que solo les puedo decir que disfruten esta presentación.
So,
Marilyn.
hello, my name is Melanie Gonzalez. I'm the Vice President of YLC. Just to reiterate, I want to say I hope you guys really enjoyed this presentation.
Hi, my name is Ali, and I would just like to say thank you for coming into this webinar. The YLC has put in a lot of work for this, and we hope you all have fun and at least learn something today.
Hey guys, my name is Noor, and I am this year's YLC BTE Youth Leadership Council Secretary. We're really excited to see you all here today, and thank you for coming. To get to know me a little is that I like to spend my time picking up new skills and hobbies. I recently took up pyrography art, and I'm teaching myself a few new languages. I enjoy photography, and I would like to study human resource management further in university.
Hi to everyone, my name is Petilo Chukudu. I'm a 17-year-old boy from Swellapele, South Africa. I'm one of the participants of the YLC, and I'm also a BTE participant. I'm an outdoor person, I'm kind, I'm loving. So this is my personality. I hope everyone enjoys the session today.
Hi everyone, thanks for taking the time out to join our webinar. I hope you find it informational, but also for you to enjoy it. Some things I enjoy doing are drawing, read and bake, and spending time with my family. Recently I've taken up an instrument, which is the oboe, and I'm currently in a musical band. When leaving school, I'm interested in doing something in relation to business or animals. I was thinking maybe zoology. Thank you guys again for joining us, and I hope you take something out of this webinar.
Hi everyone, my name is Marilyn. I'm an alum of the BTE program, and I just graduated from Rutgers University. In my free time, I really love to write and draw Zentangles. And I'm also very passionate about mental health. So I hope that you'll learn something in this webinar that will help you.
So for our agenda today, firstly, we would have mental health and self-care by Marilyn and Trisha, and then on to the next one is fitness and nutrition by Noor, Jamila, and Melanie. And third, me and my partner Fratello will take over time management.
So the first section of our slides are mental health and self-care. So in this set of slides, we're kind of going to be talking about what mental health is and how it affects us in our daily lives. So mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, and affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, how we relate to others, and how we make certain choices. And it is very important at every stage of life, from childhood through adolescence through adulthood. Over the course of your life, if you experience mental health problems, your thinking, mood, and behavior could be affected, and many factors contribute to mental health problems, including different biological factors such as brain chemistry or genes, or life experiences such as trauma and abuse. So the two main things that people hear or think about when they hear mental health is depression and anxiety. So we're gonna be talking about what the two exactly are. So depression is a constant feeling of sadness and loss of interest, which stops you from doing your normal activities. Different types of depression exist, and some symptoms can be extremely severe, or some symptoms can be minor. And generally, it does not mix from like a single event, but from different events and different factors that affect us and how we feel about our lives. Anxiety or severity of an anxious feeling can sometimes be out of proportion to the original trigger or stressor. Physical symptoms such as increased blood pressure and nausea also may develop, and these responses may move into anxiety onto an anxiety disorder. So the APA describes a person with an anxiety disorder as having recurring intrusive thoughts or concerns, and once anxiety reaches a stage of disorder, it can interfere with the daily function and how we live. So we're going to be talking about the neurobiology of mental health problems and how they happen.
In order to really understand how depression and anxiety and all this ties into mental health, we need to understand the brain-body connection. So our brain and our bodies, they're interconnected. When one of them experiences either stress, trauma, pain, the other will show signs. And another way to really understand this is by knowing that the brain can be broken down into three main parts. So you have the prefrontal cortex, and that's known as the executive state. It's at the front part of the brain, and it's responsible for all your logical thinking, any rational decisions you make, and also how you plan and reason choices. Then you have your emotional state, and that's known as your limbic system. You can see it in the blue. That's responsible for your emotions, your memories, and really your behavior. And then finally, we have the cerebellum. It's called the reptilian brain and brainstem. That's your survival state. That's really the house of your instincts. Is responsible for your breathing, your balance, your heart rate, among other things. So when these systems stop working together and you really lose that connection, either from overwhelming stress or trauma or any other trigger, then this is where stress can develop into anxiety and depression. So it's important to understand this connection. So for some people, there's been research that shows that there's chemicals in our brain, and having an imbalance contributes to these illnesses such as depression. You can see in the graph that when you have too little dopamine, that presents itself in your body as anxiety. And when you have too little of dopamine and serotonin, you could probably experience feelings of depression. But so what we want is a balanced levels of these substances so that you can have happiness and love and feel balanced and grounded. This is where medication can come in. Sometimes you're prescribed antidepressants, but not all the medications and treatments that are out there work for everyone. So it's possible that you'll have to try many. However, the brain is really complex, and so there's still research being done to understand this.
We're now going to speak about the neurotransmitters, and they are basically just chemical messengers in our brain. The nerve cells of the brain use neurotransmitters to communicate with each other, and the messages that they send are believed to play a role in mood regulation. The space between the two nerve cells is called a synapse, and when the cells want to communicate, neurotransmitters can be packaged up and released from the end of an axon to a presynaptic cell, and you can see that in the picture. And as a packet of neurotransmitters crosses a space, it could be taken up by receptors for a specific chemical on postsynaptic cells, which is a dendrite, and you can see that on the picture too. So an example of this is when serotonin receptors pick up different serotonin molecules, and if there are any excess molecules in the space, the presynaptic cell will gather them back up and reprocess them to use in another communication. So each type of neurotransmitter can carry a different message, and they all play unique roles in creating an individual's brain chemistry, and imbalances in these chemicals, they may contribute to different mental health conditions such as depression, anxiety, and like a whole lot of different problems. So there are 3 different key neurotransmitters, and they are norepinephrine, serotonin, and dopamine. So dopamine creates positive feelings associated with reward or reinforcement, and they motivate us to continue with different tasks or activities. Dopamine is believed to play an important role in a variety of conditions affecting the brain, including Parkinson's disease and schizophrenia. There's also evidence that reduced dopamine levels can contribute to depression in some people. And norepinephrine is both a neurotransmitter and a hormone, so it plays a role in a fight or flight response along with adrenaline. It was proposed that depression occurs when there's too little norepinephrine in certain brain circuits. And lastly, we have serotonin, which is also feel-good chemical, so it's similar to dopamine. And in addition to helping regulate your mood, serotonin has a number of different jobs throughout the body. And again, if there's too little serotonin, it can contribute to feelings of depression.
So something that we'll be discussing is the polyvagal theory, and this has to do with the vagus nerve, which is actually a really long nerve that connects really all your major systems and organs into the brain. And so what happens is that our bodies go through these sort of 3 stages. The first is called kind of your sweet spot. That's where you're grounded. And you fluctuate in this a little bit, but when there's an overwhelming amount of stress, pain, or trauma, you can go into one of these other 2 systems called either hypoarousal, and that's when sort of the freeze response, that's feelings of your mind going blank, you potentially feel paralyzed. The second one is hyperarousal, that's your fight or flight. So this can bring up feelings of anger or irritability, which would be fight. And then there's also something called flight, where perhaps you avoid your problems. So what's important is that by stimulating this vagus nerve, you can actually restore balance to your body and return to this window of tolerance where you feel clear and able to make better choices. So a way to do this is through coping skills. Here we have 3. The first is thought challenging, and that involves recognizing when you're having an intrusive thought and really confronting it and disrupting this pattern of unhelpful thinking by finding for potentially evidence that goes against it. So for example, you might think, I am such a bad student. And really, when this thought happens and happens unconsciously, you find evidence against that, such as I think I'm a bad student, but really I'm not, because I'm doing really well in school currently. The second one is something called releasing emotions. And this is done through activity that really provides an outlet for your feelings, such as going for a walk. The third is practicing self-love. So in this activity and coping skill, you do things that comfort you, relax you, things that you like in order to be kind to yourself. And this can be something such as taking a bath. So the next three are listed here. The first is tapping into your best self. So this has more to do with your core values, things that you really believe in, and tapping into these, such as doing activities of volunteering. They could really help. The next is distraction. Positive distraction really involves an activity that just takes your mind off of the negative experience. And this can be something like reading a book. And the last is grounding. So grounding is focusing your mind, really centering yourself, listening to your body in order to calm yourself. And then this can give you perspective. And this can be done through something simple like meditation.
So, Marilyn, I just want to ask, do you have any, like, what coping skills do you do when you're feeling down?
So for me, when I'm going through a really stressful time, it can depend on the day. So at night, I really like to journal. My mind is often really full of thoughts, and it's just really active and thinking. I know people say, just turn off your brain, but that doesn't really work for me. So I like to journal and write all of these things down. That kind of helps alleviate some of that. And in the day, or when I have a stressful exam, I like to do things more physical, such as going out for a walk and enjoying nature, really. What about you, Trisha?
I like listening to music and dancing. I feel like both of them really helped me express myself and tap into what I'm feeling, and it helps to alleviate the symptoms also. And sometimes when I don't want to get up and I have nothing else to do, I just watch stuff on my phone, so different movies, my favorite TV shows.
So those are all good ways. Other ways you can cope, for example, can be through yoga. You can also do an activity that you enjoy, such as taking photos or doing something creative. I don't know if any of the other members have things that they do in order to help themselves cope in difficult times. So our activity for today is a coping skills fortune teller. So I know, and really this council understands that it can be hard to choose which coping skill to implement, when you're stressed and overwhelmed. So hopefully this can be good activity, very simple, that you can use. So Trisha will be demonstrating. She has a normal piece of paper, and she can easily make a square out of this. So she'll just fold it on the corners and then cut that little piece off. And then now her square, she's going to fold it diagonally both ways, corner to corner. And then she's going to fold each individual corner towards the center, going all the way around. And then she'll flip it over. And she'll do the same thing. So each individual corner will be folded to the center. So after this, she can color in her coping skills fortune teller. So using any color that you like, you can fill in the colors. So you can see she has a few colors there. And then on the other side, you have 8 spaces for numbers. And this can really be any number you like. You can just do something simple like 1 through 8. And then on the inside will be the coping skills that you decide to add. And then she's showing you that. So now she can show you how, for example, we're using it, you're stressed, you're going through a difficult time. So we'll just pick a color, let's say blue. She spells it out, and so we're gonna pick a number 2. And another one, let's do 5. And then she gets to open it. And what's the coping
So the
skill?
coping skill that Marilyn came up with was to meditate. So that's what she would do. And this method is really helpful if you have a bunch of coping skills in your mind and don't know which one to pick, or, something like that's buried, not good with decisions. This is very helpful.
Exactly. So if you go to the next slide, you can find an example. So just to remind everyone, oh yes, an example of everything filled out before it's folded. You can see all the coping skills listed there. So again, to remind everyone that they're really not alone and there is help everywhere. If you open this link, you'll find resources in your area that'll hopefully help. And thank you. So now just going to be passing it off to fitness and nutrition.
Today we're going to start off by talking about fitness and nutrition. Let's start by gaining an understanding of what is nutrition. Nutrition is the intake of food in relation to the dietary needs of the body. Good nutrition, a sufficient and balanced diet combined with regular physical exercise, is a fundamental element of good health. Poor nutrition can reduce immunity, increase vulnerability to disease, impair physical and mental development, and reduce productivity. Nutrition is important because it's essential for the functioning and maintenance of the vital functions of humans. It helps to maintain the homeostatic balance of the organism, both in macrosystematic processes such as digestion or the metabolism. Next slide, please. So what is physical fitness? Physical fitness refers to the ability to perform some type of physical activity. It is a natural condition that we have to go through in order to stay fit. So fitness, when we're being physically active, there are numerous benefits for the body. Good practice of these activities allows the body to feel physically and mentally fit. I'm going to pass the slide to Melanie.
Okay. To have an adequate diet, we must have the following: protein, fats, and carbohydrates. They are enters the body through the absorption of nutrients such as protein, fats, and carbohydrates. They are necessary for the organism since they are expended in high amounts through physical activity and expensive that induce the diet. Number 2, the entry into the body of vitamins and minerals, non-energy nutrients. Number 3, drink approximately 2 liters of water per day, keeping our body well hydrated. Number 4, eat enough high fiber foods. Thank you.
So the nutritional pyramid or the food pyramid is a way of representing graphically how a balanced diet should be constituted. The nutritional pyramid is divided into 4 parts. Base of the pyramid being carbohydrates such as cereals and pastas, and on the next level, which is fruits and vegetables. Above that, foods that are high in protein and dairy products, and lastly, at the top of the pyramid are your sugars and fats. Melanie?
Activity time. Sorry. We're going to start by doing a little activity demonstration. This activity is great for when you cannot get up and move, but need to increase your circulation or to release some tension and get some fine motor ability. It's particularly useful to improve the blown food or your hands and something you can just do on the go. Ready?
Yes. So number 1, face your palm towards each other, and with a little bit of distance in between, rotate them 180 degrees clockwise, then back 180 degrees anti-clockwise, and repeat. Number 2, extend your hand, rotating it sideways, then as if you were doing a handshake, raise them up and back down again, then repeat. Number 3, face your palm towards the floor and gently lift your wrist, raising it up and bringing it back down again, and repeat. Number 4, hold your hands straight, then curl in the tip of your finger so they're touching the bottom of your fingers. Then bring in your knuckles so you're creating a fist shape, and repeat. And number 5, hold your hand out, starting with your thumb extended. Bring the thumb to the middle of your palm, then extend it back out, and repeat. So if we go on to the next slide, bad nutrition. So there is a great variety of diseases that are linked to a bad or deficient diet. Bad nutrition can often lead to further health problems, which can cause both long-term and short-term health conditions. So what does bad nutrition have in common with the mouth? Having a bad or deficient diet also has consequences on teeth and the mouth. Since the body does not continue to receive nutrients it needs to restore the tissues, the oral area is most prone to infection. Excess eating. When we eat large amounts of sugar, as well as carbohydrates and starch, acidic fat adheres to the enamel of our teeth, destroying them and infecting them. Now, if we go to the next one.
Recommendation for the care of exercise and physical activity. Training. This is a variety of planned, structured, and repetitive physical activity performing with a goal related to the improvement and maintenance of one or more components of physical fitness. Physical activity encompasses exercise, but also other activities that involve body movement and are performed as part of playtime, work, activity forms of transportation, household chores, and recreational activity. Activity level. Therefore, is requires a population perspective, multi-sectoral, multidisciplinary, and cultural situable contribution. It reduces the risks on many non-communicable diseases, helps control overweight, obesity, and body fat percentage, increase bone density, strengthening bonds, and helping to prevent osteoporosis, and strengthens muscle and improves physical fitness and ability, improves mood, prevents and reduces stress, anxiety, and depression. Physical activities such as walking, running, jumping, playing on the playground, playing basketball, and riding bicycles.
So the calorie intake for an average teenager, for males, it's 2,800 calories. For females, it's 2,200 calories. And remember that alongside exercise, the food pyramid also plays a big part in not only just your physical health, but also your mental health. As you can see from the food pyramid shown on the screen, from the bottom to the top of the pyramid is the levels of serving you should be eating from each food groups. For example, carbohydrates such as rice and pasta should be consumed around 6 to 11 servings, fruits around 2 to 4 servings, vegetables around 3 to 5 servings, protein and high dairy products around 2 to 3 servings, and the minimum being fats and oils which should be consumed sparsely during meal times. And remember, the more active you are, the more calories that you require. If we go to the next slide.
There are many expenses that don't involve lifting weights, going on the treadmill, etc. Here are small activities you can do throughout the day which can make a difference, such as walking, cleaning, ironing, cycling, playing a musical instrument, climbing stairs, and hanging out with friends. Something poor with the bone can also lead the consumption of a lot of junk food, which can be bad for our diets. Therefore, a few examples are chatting to friends, going along on long walks, watching the TV, take a nap, cooking, listening to music, hobbies, for example, drawing, knitting, sport, etc., and window shopping and taking a shower.
So we have a short quiz that we'd like you to do, and your answers, could you please put them in the Zoom chat below? And my colleague Jamila is going to see the answers. So the first question is, what does it mean by physical fitness? Does it mean exercising to keep your body fit, or following the food pyramid and eating the right amounts of servings? So I think someone put in the chat number 2, so let's click on it and see if it's the right answer. No, it's exercising to keep your body fit, since it is physical fitness. Melanie, do you want to do the next question?
The question is, do you think nutrition is important? Hobby, or yes or not?
So in the chat, people have written yes. So let's click on it and see if that's the right answer. So if you press submit. Okay. That was correct. Now, what do you think is the cause of poor nutrition? Lack of nutrients in the body, diseases, or diets? So we will let everyone answer in the chat. Okay, I think we have an answer that says lack of nutrients, so let's try and click on that. That is correct. It is the lack of nutrients.
The next question is, how much water should we consume per day? 2 liters, 3 liters, or 4 liters?
So in the chat, people are saying 2 liters, so let's click on it and see if it's correct. That is correct. I think that should be the last question. Oh, yeah, I think the quiz is finished now.
Thanks for your attention. Do you have any questions?
So, personally, for me, I have some friends who forget to drink water, and like water is extremely important. So do you guys have like any tips for them?
So I think that when it comes to water, a lot of people do tend to forget. So I know there are some apps in which it has a reminder that reminds you to drink water frequently. So we are recommended to have around 8 glasses a day, so around 2 liters. So I would say if you want to drink more water, you can also get these bottles that have certain like it says how much to have within the day. So at 8 a.m. you'll have this much, at 9 a.m. you'd have this much. So I would recommend things like that, and that would kind of motivate you to drink more water.
Okay, thank
There's a
you.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, I think there's a question in Spanish as well. Melanie, do you want to answer that?
Yo te puedo leer, dice, ¿qué opinas de métodos como la dieta paleo y el ayuno intermitente para obtener un buen peso o una vida mejor?
Sí, pues creo que el ayuno puede ser muy saludable, tanto como incorrecto y correcto, porque pues un ayuno, mientras sea nutricional, bien balanceado, puede contribuir a una buena dieta. Y si no es muy bueno, te podría perjudicar mucho.
So she thinks that there could be a good way and also a bad way, but often people really intermittently fasting correctly. It's important to remember to obtain a balanced diet. Otherwise, when you fast, it can be dangerous.
So I think there was also another question at the beginning that says any suggestions for diabetic patients with nutrients or a balanced diet. And I think in terms of that, like there are a lot of if you look at like food plans and things like that, that would have like the recommended intakes and different substitutes that you could do. Because I know like a lot of sugars and things are not allowed, like you're not recommended to have for diabetic patients. So there are a lot of substitutes that you could have. So if you just look up different food plans, you would find them, and it would help you a lot because I think it will be done by more professionally and stuff as well. And there's also a link in the chat as well. But now I'm gonna pass it on to the time management team.
Thank you.
Management. I would just like to say thank you again for joining on this webinar. Yeah, welcome to time management, and I am going to pass it on to my partner Fatolo. So let's get started.
Ali, I think Fatola's having some connection issues, so if you want to hop right through, you can.
Okay, that's fine. So the definition of time management is the process of planning and exercising conscious control over the amount of time spent on specific activities. Practicing time management can be relaxing and letting some stress out by you planning this specific activity or assignment out, and you won't have to worry about too much. So mental health and time management are tied together because time management can reduce stress within anyone, whether you are a student, someone who is working, or just anyone. Time management allows you to limit your time with everything, whether if it's for assignments or things at your workplace, and it could take a big load off of your shoulders since you have it all planned out and you wouldn't have to like be on top of your brain like every like 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, so this slide is just basic statistics of time management and how many people actually participate in time management. Like it says in the slide, time management can make people more productive, and it shows that they actually get things done in time. People who participate in time management tend to be all organized also. Preparing for exams. Exams are stressful, right? Again, I don't know how many of you or when of you end schools, but I am here to talk about a few things that you can do to prepare for an exam, whether if it's for next semester or for this month, because I still have some friends who are still taking finals. So firstly, what you will want to do is know the exact date for the exam. And then after that, you would want to go to your resources or reach out to your teacher to make sure you get everything under control and all of the materials that you need. And thirdly, again, everyone learns different. Everyone learns different and they do certain things to help them study more. Like for me, I am not like a visual person. Like I would have to do things like hands-on learning. Like I can't just skim through a textbook because that wouldn't get in my head. Like I would have to practice things. So thirdly, if you would like to test yourself to just get the feeling of what the exam is like, then please do so. The more practice you have on yourself, the more you would know. Okay, so timetables and to-do lists are things that can help you plan out your things. For example, like a planner, it has all the features in it, a calendar, a daily, and a weekly feature. There are also notes that you can write in case if you would want to remind yourself on this specific day. And in most cases, when you do have a planner, you have this little notepad on the side, and then you would say which one is important or which is not important, and then when you're done you could just cross it out. So here's our few examples, and again there are virtual ones too. I don't know what happened, but I can't see the screen.
I think Shireen might be pulling up one of the time management groups for you to use as an example. Shireen, should we go to the next slide or are we pulling up a time management schedule? There we go.
Okay, so procrastination, it is there. I don't know how many of you all do it, but I most definitely do it, and it's not fun because you are pushing everything back and back just because of a device or whatever you like to do. Procrastination is mostly caused by devices, social media, streaming, and gaming platforms. To prevent more procrastination, you can limit yourself of how much time you spend on the device. That way you'll be more strict on yourself so you can get more tasks or things that you need to get done as soon as possible. I have two brothers. They play the PlayStation all the time. And they do get their work done, but they just keep pushing it back. So I just kindly remind them saying that, hey, you need to limit yourself so you could get this done. And yeah. So me time, known as time to yourself. In my defense personally, I feel like this slide is most important out of all of the time management slides because time to yourself is extremely important. Before you would want to complete anything, it is recommended that you would want to make sure that you are okay to feel like doing so. If you aren't, that's totally okay. It's totally understandable. It's not something that you should feel bad or ashamed of. It's just that, like, if you're not in that right state of mind, you cannot perform at your best. And time to yourself are things that you can enjoy, whether if it's spending time like with your family, taking a stroll, anything, especially during this time in the pandemic, because I know a lot of people that have not been able to like ooh, to like treat themselves in the pandemic since it's like hard to go out and everything like that. As it says at the bottom, self-care is the best care because in order to be at your best, you have to take care of yourself first. Time management strategies. These are just a few strategies that you could do to participate in time management. Over time, when you do these things, you will slowly develop more time management and will have more time to do things. One of the biggest strategies that I recommend is number 1, finishing your important tasks first. Number 3, learn to say no. And number 4, sleep 4 to 7 or 8 hours. The third one is extremely important because I personally struggled with learning how to say no. And that also goes on to procrastination because like if you don't say no to like a party or a hangout or something, then you would go to that event and then you would like totally forget about what you were doing or anything like that. The reason why I strongly recommend these strategies is because you have a few things finished since your most important task first, and when you say no, you can have more time to complete your work, and after that you will have more time to do whatever you would like. Lastly, everyone needs sleep. It is highly suggested that you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep so you can have more focus and more self-conscious of yourself because me knowing myself and a few other friends, if they don't get sleep, they are not being their best selves, at least in my perspective. So yeah. Okay, so this is the activity slide. These are just some activities or things that you can do to participate in time management. You could have the choice to either have it on paper or virtually. If you choose to do it on paper, then you can make a 7 to 5 grid, 7 across and 5 down. Once you have that, you can write the numbers in the squares to decorate it, or just make it yours because it is yours. If you choose virtual, there is a template at the bottom in the speaker notes that Trisha put in the link. And just make your own copy so everyone doesn't use the same document. Take about 4 to 5 minutes to make your schedule for Monday and Tuesday and make sure to add what you learned based on this webinar. Yes, so please make your own copy. And oh, I don't know if the video is showing, but there is a 3 to 4 minute video all about time management and how you can practice and participate in time management more often. Okay.
Are you constantly finding yourself behind at work or school? Do you arrive at the end of the day and realize you've accomplished nothing on your to-do list? Well, odds are you're not very good at time management. And that is not doing your psychological health any favors. In fact, a study published in Work and Stress found that workers who didn't productively manage their time felt less in control of their lives. Here's the good news. You can get better. Paying attention to how you spend your time will help you manage it more effectively. And we're going to help you learn how to do just that. Today on Wellcast, we're going to get you in control of your day with our RAC method. Recording, analyzing, and changing. 3 easy steps to great time management. Pause and print a copy of our handy Wellcast day planner. Finish printing? Let's dive in. Step 1, recording. When you wake up tomorrow, note the time in your day planner. As the day progresses, write down everything that you do. Yes, we mean everything. The 10 minutes you spent getting dressed, the half day of productive work, the hours you spent between social networking sites, we mean it all. Keep this up from the time you wake up until you go to sleep. Step 2, analyzing. At the end of the day, go through the schedule and highlight any chunks of time that you don't feel were used productively. Pick out your 5 biggest time wasters in your day. Be honest with yourself. You spent a half an hour by the coffee machine talking to your coworker. You spent an hour on Facebook, and you stared into space for 20 minutes. Come on, you get the picture. Especially focus on the time wasters at work. Why? A study published by the British Medical Journal says that workplace stress is minimized by effective time management. It also says that workplace stress bleeds over into home life and undermines a relaxed life at home. Here's the ugly part. Add up all the time you wasted. How much productive time did you blow on activities that got you no results? Step 3, changing. Now it's time to come up with a way to get that time back. Here are 3 ways to change your time-wasting habits and become a better time manager. Prioritize. To-do lists are a really effective way to manage your time and your priorities. Limit the number of tasks you have on this list to 5 and assign rankings to them in order of importance. Declutter. Not only is decluttering great for your health, but you won't waste time digging around piles of stuff to find that one piece of paper that you really need. Check out our Wellcast on Clutter for some helpful tips on lightening your load. Schedule. Hey, we all try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but odds are multitasking will actually just stress you out and delay you even more. Instead, set aside blocks of time for individual activities. For each activity, set start and stop points. This way your day is cleanly segmented. Then stick to this schedule. Try going 1 week using these tips to reduce your wasted time. At the end of a week, go figure out where you've improved your time management skills and how much time you've saved. Let's recap. Today you learned how to manage your time better by using our Wellcast rack method. You recorded, analyzed, and hopefully changed how you use your time. And you did this by learning how to prioritize your most important tasks, declutter your workspace to save you time, and you learned how to build yourself an effective schedule to block out your day. Hey, how did rack work for you? We want to hear how much time you were wasting and how much you're saving now. Tweet us at WatchWellcast, email us at watchwellcast@gmail.com, or leave a comment down below. We'll see you next time.
So I hope everyone enjoyed me and Fatolo's section of this webinar. As our section comes to an end, does anyone have any questions? Earlier I saw a question. Okay. It says if 87% of students could achieve better grades with better time management, is it the responsibility of the school/teachers to prioritize teaching and these skills to their students, or is it more? Okay, so can everyone hear me okay? It just said my connection is unstable.
You're okay. Go ahead.
Okay. In this case, as for me personally, as I answer this question, I feel like it is on both parts, because if the teacher or like the advisor doesn't give you or the student enough materials or resources, then they cannot perform at its best. Like they can't really like perform at its best, and they can't really practice of what the teacher is actually teaching them and what the class is made out of. Instead, they would either have to reach out to other people, or like look on online and like cite of what they got from online, so they don't get accused of plagiarism. So I do think it is both parts on that question. Okay, so it says, as a society, do you think we're worse these days at time management, or have we always had this issue? But now it's intensified with social media and new technology. So this is a good question because of the pandemic. At least for me, I can't say for other people because I am not them. It depends because for me, I've lost a lot of motivation during the pandemic. So I feel like I've gotten worse with time management, but as the school year last semester started back up, I've had the motivation to practice time management again. Um, so for me personally, I do think we're a little bit worse with time management as we were before. I think that's just because we were staying home and doing nothing. Um, if you don't give respect to time, time will never give any respect back. I do agree. Um, because of the pandemic, a lot of people have lost structure to their days. Do you predict a society in the future where we all lose these skills and procrastinate more as a result of COVID? This is a really good question. I do think yes, because as we move forward in the future, we will have more technology, so people um cannot I wouldn't necessarily go out, but like everything is like to them, given to them, and then they wouldn't really do this or that. But again, there will be some people who like more physical and like to do like physical activity and just hands-on things. So I do think this is on both parts. Um, how do we plan time management in today's pandemic? Honestly, it is up to your personal style of how you would want to plan out things. Again, if you would want to do it physically and like on paper or on virtually, it is up to you. But I for recommendations, I would just start out slow and then just move on from that point. Because time is technically a social construct, do you live life by the general schedule of society, or is it more important to follow your own time? I personally think that it is more important to follow on your own time because, again, everyone is different. Um, Everyone moves on like differently, like whether if it's slower, faster. It just honestly depends on the person that you are and how do you manage to do certain things within your own time. Like I would remember a teacher saying that like you could talk at your own time or whatever. I'm like teaching right now, so I feel like that impacted people a little bit. Like they wouldn't want to do the work or anything like that. Um, but yeah, I feel like it is better to live at your own schedule so that you have your pace of how you would want to do things.
Thank you, Ali. We are now going to transition over to our wellness webinar winners. So the Youth Leadership Council is very thankful and appreciative to all of our great participants and for all of our youth for attending today's session. So we will be raffling off some awesome prizes to those who have been engaged. So if you are one of the lucky raffle winners, you will be the recipient of some affirmation cards, stress ball, a fitness tracker, or a journal. So again, this is just one of our small ways of saying thank you for lending your support to the council, but for also participating in our BTE family.
I'll just like to say again, thank you for joining us today. And you guys can check out the BTE website for a copy of today's presentation and feel free to share it with your peers.
Yes, thank you for joining us. I hope you learned something useful, either for your mental health, your fitness and nutrition, or how to manage time.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.